All the way from that fiery conversation concerning River State, let's come back to Lagos. Today, we're spotlighting LASTMA's intensified efforts to curb traffic violations and reckless driving in Lagos State, a crucial step towards making the roads indeed safer. Indeed, LASTMA has rolled out some significant measures to tackle the chaos often caused by traffic on the roads. And as such, we will dive into finding out what they are putting in place to achieve this. Well, joining us this morning for the discussion, we have Mr. Adebayo Taofiq, is the Director of Public Affairs and Enlightenment Department of LASTMA. Thank you so much for being here, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Taofiq, and thanks for joining us.
Morning. So, we hear that there's a new measure in place. I wouldn't want to call it new because it has a similarity with what we know before and we've heard before. Right. But do you want to shed more light on what LASTMA is prepared to do?
As for LASTMA is statutorily established to manage and control traffic on the road. With this new, the government of Lagos State is going by technological development in monitoring and enforcing traffic has been done all over the world. Initially, at the inception of the establishment of the agency, you have LASTMA officers having one or two encounters with motoring public or probably having an altercation with some of the motoring public that found their flouting the Lagos State Transport Sector Reform of 2018. The government now look inward and find a solution of trying to look at a technological way at which this kind of situation would be, things of the past. That was why they first came up with a body cam camera that record any traffic infractions on the road. And after that, they came up with traffic management solution devices. This is an handy device being held by LASTMA, deployed to LASTMA officers on the road. These devices, if you commit any traffic infractions, LASTMA officer doesn't need to get closer to you before you got captured by this camera. At a distance of 70 meters to 100 meters, you'll be captured with this camera, and it will state the time, the real time, the venue, the location and the date of which you had committed this traffic offense. And in no time, within less than 31 hours, you receive a notification on your phone of the offense you had committed. And on this notification, if you just press an arrow, you'll find a video that would,
there's a video now.
There's a video that would come up with that notification. Once you press the arrow at the center of the video, it will depict the offense you had committed. You will see your vehicle, the registration number, the time, areas at which you had committed this offense. And under this video, you have a 2 button. The other one will say how to effect payment of the fine of the offense you had committed. The other one will give you a kind of a challenge button, because government felt, in as much as we are human beings, there are bound to be an error in one way or the other. So when you believe that maybe you have a genuine reason to have committed such a traffic offense, once you press this challenge button, it will take you to another window where you have the opportunity of stating the reason why you had committed this offense. And in no time, you'll be invited to the Lagos State Mobile Court, where all evidences will be presented before a magistrate who will now adjudicate on the matter. You might be free, and again, you might be asked to go and pay a certain fine.
This that you have expressed or described is a technologically advanced solution to deal with traffic offenses. Is this something that you hope to implement, or is this the current reality?
It's current reality.
But we still see some LASTMA officials still trying to see
even with that doesn't still stop a physical apprehension by LASTMA officers. Because this camera, as of today, we have close to about 1,000 of this camera being deployed to LASTMA officers. But there are still some areas at which you still have LASTMA officers still going by physical apprehension on this errant motoring public.
I want you to hit on the physical apprehension. What is the right way for a physical apprehension to occur? Because what we see a number of times is that there's an allegation of a traffic infraction having been carried out. Yes. And we're seeing an official trying to struggle with the steering, with the driver. The first thing they do is they jump into your vehicle, they're trying to take over your steering. Is that a legal way?
Well, in as much as I would quite agree with you with that, but I want to tell you that has been thing of the past before the advent of this present administration in LASTMA. These days, there are a lot of training and retraining being given to our officers now. Like last year, LASTMA has well over 4,750 staff. And I must confess to you here that about 4,100 we are trained in different courses last year. We even had a kind of a collaboration with the Nigerian Police Training School at Ikeja, who trains our senior officers and the junior officers. So the issue of having LASTMA officers, struggling sharing with, I think is a thing of the
So
past.
can you, for the sake of clarity and our viewers, could you let us know the standard operational procedure?
The standard operational procedure, once you commit a traffic offense and a LASTMA stops you, what is expected of you is to obey that LASTMA officers. You understand what I'm saying? Once you obey the LASTMA officers, he would, if you have been captured, he will have a video. He will have recorded you and have you on the on picture as well. And once you have submitted yourself to him, he will lead you to the office. On getting to the office,
does he have to enter your car to lead you to the office?
Yeah, he has to enter your car, but not that he will drive.
Okay.
Not that he will drive. He will be beside you and take you to the office. And we have about 47 zonal offices. It depends on the location at which you have committed that traffic offense. Once they get you into the office, the next thing is to issue you what we refer to a referral notice. This referral notice is what the public calls ticket. The LASTMA issue a ticket. Once you are given this referral notice, is what you take to the mobile court at Bolade, and they do come over to LASTMA headquarters to sit for cases Tuesdays and Thursdays. So it's at this level of the mobile court at which the magistrate will now adjudicate on that very particular case, and in a situation whereby the arresting officer will also be at the court, you also will also be at the court then he will present the evidence he has, like the video and photograph evidence, and you also will state your own reason. But we found that with research conducted, well over, let's say out of 10, you only have 9 cases being at the end of the day being issued a fine to such errant driver. Because ordinarily what they believe on the road was that LASTMA doesn't have an evidence on their own. You know, but these days, the Lagos State government, the way at which they are going about transportation system is going technological advancements.
Now, Mr. Taofiq, following up on your comments, lots of Lagosians have complained that once they find themselves in the LASTMA compound, their tires are deflated. And then after paying their fine, they have to pay more than what is obtainable on the streets. I mean, to pump your tire on the streets is about 500 naira. They pay upwards of 2,000. Is that not some form of extortion? And why is it necessary to deflate those tires in the first place?
We've had these kind of allegations over and over. And this thing has been on there right from the establishment of this agency in year 2000. But what I will tell you, the management, because of all these series of allegations, even some are saying that LASTMA has an agent collecting money from commercial bus drivers. That was what brought about the establishment of the LASTMA toll-free hotline that was launched last year, July. You have a toll-free LASTMA hotline now where you could reach out to us.
Oh, you can click a report.
You can have if you have any altercation, any issue with LASTMA officers.
Do you have the number?
Yeah, I have the number. Then even if you find any LASTMA officers misbehaving on the road or having a kind of an unethical behavior on the road, you have the right to report through this hotline. And you can reach out to us either in English, Pidgin, or Yoruba. We are there from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. on daily basis. So this has really curbed the excesses of a few of our officers, that I must confess to you. Because with this advent of this toll-free hotline, 6 of our officers towards the end of last year were dismissed from service because of series of 1 or 2 allegations at which people call on us through our social media handles and that of the toll-free hotlines. And after a thorough investigation, we found them culpable, and the government doesn't just have to show them a way out. And I must tell you that in the last 1 year, we've had 17 LASTMA officers being sacked from the Lagos State government employment, and we have 13 of them being demoted out of, from their rank, and 25 are still serving the kind of suspension time that we have now.
Now, I need you to, you didn't quite land on that question I asked you. Is it official policy to deflate tires once the cars are in LASTMA's compound? And also, commercial, you raised a point about commercial drivers, that there was an accusation. And I think it's rightly so, because commercial bus drivers, korokpes, and kekes, are they subject to the same traffic laws as other citizens of Lagos State? Because routinely, if we drive around this area now, I will point to you that they will jump traffic lights. They don't obey. It's almost like they live in an alternative reality.
Well, fine, beautiful, but let me state clearly that, you see, when you are dealing with, there is a separate way, when you are dealing with commercial, these downfall buses and that of the private cars, you have to be very, very careful and logical when you are dealing with commercial bus drivers. I have to let you know that out of all these commercial, we have a stubborn and very, very, mean among some of these drivers. Some of them will have taken alcohol, some of them will have taken drugs, and in the course of trying to apprehend them, they could be reckless, and in the course of this, they could cause a kind of an havoc. I live in Ikorodu. I was coming about 2 weeks ago. A commercial bus, they lined up at the main expressway at K2, citing my own vehicle that is coming. They felt probably I'm on enforcement routine. They started driving recklessly. It's only by the grace of God that none of these commuters at the roadside trying to board buses was not hit. A driver had to turn. A driver facing Ojota had to maneuver, jump the curb, and face the other side of the road, move towards my 12 again. What do you say about that? If he had caused any calamity at that time, people would have, held LASTMA responsible. And the training they had received last year have really reshaped LASTMA and brought about the new face of LASTMA in Lagos State for now. And with the advent of this camera now, once you have any commercial buses committing any traffic offense, you don't need to get closer to them anymore. Just make use of this TMS camera and they will be captured. And a situation whereby you capture them with a photograph. At times when they committed this offense, you have a very free road, free everywhere. You could not get them arrested. But we have them in record. Whenever at our own comfort zone, probably if they are moving like from K2 down to Juelegba or Yaba now, we will have sent ahead some of these pictures, pictures of this vehicle and the offense they have committed to our officers at an interval. So there is no how they will escape. If you escape from K2, when you get to Ojota, if you escape, when you get to Onipan, you cannot escape, or you get to Juelegba, or probably at Yaba bus stop, you cannot escape this. Right. And that has been given a kind of a loggerhead within LASTMA officers and some of these commuters, because at the end of the day, if you have them apprehended, passengers will come down trying to, create a kind of a scene with LASTMA officers saying that he had not committed any offense, he had not done this, he has not done that.
Well, I'm glad that
we are trying to give out an evidence.
Thank you very much for bringing up, the committing of offenses. Some of the offenses we've seen, and I'm sure that at some point you get into some of the most commonly the most common offenses. But what we've seen in some cases would be running of the red light, and sometimes they will tell you, this is one way, or you made a U-turn at a point when there is no U-turn. In some situations, or the person doesn't know the environment. There's no sign that specifically says, you can't do a U-turn here, yet they will still apprehend you. So how can we manage situations like that, where they can clearly say to you that, look, there's no sign that says this place, I can't do a U-turn here, but the last person then apprehends you and says you flouted the traffic regulation.
Well, you see, there is no any aspect of Lagos Road. Let me learn that doesn't have a road sign. If the road sign has been removed by scavengers, or you have some underworkmen that have, turned it to something else, that's a different matter. But LASTMA, with the 47 zone that we have, we do carry out a kind of routine enforcement. Areas at which we discover that a road furniture that has been fixed at a particular spot, if it is being removed, then we compile everything together, send it to Lagos State Ministry of Transportation for a replacement. But that is not to say that you don't have one or two areas at which some of these things have been removed. But automatically, if you are at a spot where there is no any road sign, LASTMA officers will not apprehend you.
Well, there have been complaints about people who have been apprehended.
If you have a complaint about that, make use of this, our hotline.
Okay.
And immediately you get an intervention from LASTMA.
Lagosians are, we've had a lot of persons complain. I'm going to take it back to what Benga had said, especially with the commercial vehicles. I know you've answered by saying that, they could be reckless and so on and so forth. As a journalist, we've carried out some journalistic approach to these issues. It's either it reeks of a close bond and friendship between some LASTMA officials and some of these drivers, because sometimes if you're just waiting for the traffic light, you see them run riot, run past you, go to the other edge, and the LASTMA officials are there even hailing them or shaking them and saying, don't worry, move on. But in the same line, if you see a private car they become very strong and muscular. They jump in front of them and say, who are you, who are you? How can Lagosians, apart from the hotline, is it possible that these LASTMA officials, when they are reported, can LASTMA also put out some form of communication, newsletter?
Exactly. So it's a two-way communication.
Still trust that, oh, this LASTMA official was reported for so offenses, because you said some have been dismissed. We don't know them. It could be that they were dismissed in Alakbere, but now they are somewhere in Surulere. They are back to work. So how do we, have this trust?
I have trust in
dismiss that I talked about. Dismiss is dismissed from service. You know, LASTMA officers are civil servants.
Yes.
As the same way civil servants in Alausa have been recruited, the same way LASTMA officers have been recruited as well. We have the same oracle number. But the issue of saying that you have LASTMA officers hailing commercial, but I'm just hearing that for the first time. Hailing. I'm just saying that. That is not to say that it's
common knowledge.
But I'm just hearing that for the first time. But at the same time, when you find LASTMA officers having a kind of a discussion with a commercial bus driver, it might just be a way of trying to, because at times, it is not every time, even to private vehicles, it is not every time. There are some common traffic infractions that you commit that LASTMA officers would have to use their discretion at times. You know, even you have some private vehicles that will be driving without a seatbelt. You see a LASTMA officer that will say, God, just for safety, use your seatbelt now. Put your children at the back, use your whatever, it might be that. But when it comes to real traffic infractions with commercial vehicles, LASTMA is after them, serious. Like last year, from January to December last year, LASTMA apprehended about 15,750 vehicles for various traffic offenses in Lagos. Out of these 15,000, you have 11,200 that are commercial. Downfall, minibuses, Korope, and what have you. They are about 11,000 plus. But the problem people has with LASTMA about this commercial bus driver is that once you apprehend a commercial bus driver, they live on daily income.
Yes.
So once you apprehend them and take them to the office, if you issue them a referral, at that moment they will head straight to the mobile court. And once you get to the mobile court, they prepare all necessary whatever for you. Then you get into the court. The magistrate, after adjudicating, put up a fine that go and pay so amount of money. If he doesn't have such money, you have all these union members that will rally around on his behalf and get this money for him. He will quickly go and make that payment. Before you know it, on that very particular day, you have his vehicle released to him. That's why you don't have most of these commercial buses within our yard. Okay. And private vehicle owner, like when I was coming, I had just only 1,500 naira inside my pocket when I was driving down to your studio now. If eventually, I didn't mean I'm just a civilian, I'm just a public driver. If I commit any traffic offense, if I'm being apprehended by LASTMA officers, taking me to court, ask me to go and pay 20,000, I cannot afford that for today. I can't talk of tomorrow. Yeah. The car will still have to be there because I have one or two domestic issues to cater for. And with that 1,500, I can't release a penny out of it because I'm not taking my breakfast. That's why you have most of these private vehicles within the yard of LASTMA trying to sort out a way at which, to meet up with the fine being given to them through the mobile courts. Okay. And let me tell you, these downfall drivers we are talking about, just early, towards the ending of March, LASTMA carried out a massive enforcement directed by the special advisor to the Governor of Transportation, Honorable Sholagiwa, at Idumota, Ido-Asis, because we do receive a daily complaint about commercial buses trying to reverse right from Ido down to Idumota. We carry out that massive enforcement within Oyinbo, Ido, Ejado, Nibu, and Adeniji Adele. 87 commercial vehicles were apprehended on that very particular day. The enforcement was led by the General Manager, Mr. Bakari Oki. The reason why we have to do that was that the vehicle, instead of them to move from Katabridge, enter Idumota, to go and turn from Petty and what have you, they will turn from Ido as if they were going to Oyinbo. Now they will put it on reverse. Reverse from Ido down to Idumota on that Katabridge. You can imagine how these drivers, commercial drivers, how mean they are. You will reverse. In the course of trying to reverse, a lot of LASTMA officers have been injured. A lot of innocent members of the public have been seriously injured. So we carried out, and 89 of them were apprehended. Just about 2 months ago, LASTMA officers working at Agidingbi Junction here, they saw a trailer coming, And they stopped this trailer because right from Agidi, we had committed a traffic offense.
Okay.
Now, while trying to stop this trailer could not keep on driving recklessly. He had to hit one of our officers. As I'm talking to you, to God Almighty, with his right leg has been amputated. So these are the series of things that LASTMA faces. You can imagine a commercial bus reversing from Ojota down to K2 Tipper Garage. A LASTMA officer stopped the driver, telling that, no, I won't allow you to reverse down to Tipper Garage. He pretended as if he was moving back to Ojota. Put it another reverse again. LASTMA officer thought that, he had obeyed him and, hit that LASTMA officer.
Wow, that's
As I'm talking to you, we have nothing less than about 7 LASTMA officers still receiving treatment at various hospitals across the state.
And I'm hoping that this will
of this commercial activities of these commercial bus drivers.
Thank you for highlighting that. I'm hoping that this would create awareness and ensure that we have less scenarios like that. I want us to quickly talk about there's another accusation. We've had reports being sent to us, and this time around they're talking about speed limit trackers. And I don't know if that's something that you can speak to or if it's within the purview of the FRSC. Somebody did send a report about having a penalty for a device. They said that they're demanding proof of a speed limiting device, and they obviously there's no proper legislation supporting this. So is it an offense? Is it a traffic infraction to have, or is it required to have a speed limiting device? So I think there's a dichotomy here between the speed limiting device and the speed tracker. We're not quite clear if there's an issue there and if this is a traffic offense and if this is something that is within the purview of your institution.
You see, whatever policy the government is coming out with, it has legislative backup. This issue of speed limit you are talking about is under the Lagos State Transport Sector.
Not about the device installed in the car.
Yeah. Everything is under the Lagos State Transport Sector Reform of 2018. You could Google it and get it there. Because it was stated inside that law, I think section 15 or 17 of that law, that a mechanism, a device that will be installed a mechanism or device that will be installed to carry out a kind of an enforcement on traffic violations. And what do they mean by this device? These are not some of this technology they are talking about. And let me tell you clearly here that, you see, most of those people crying foul about this speed limit or, devices, tracking devices, it is only in this part of the world that they keep on complaining about these things. By the time they move outside this country, get to outside world there, you obey their traffic regulation.
I mean, you have brakes on cars, and there's a speed limit there.
And there are cameras to capture if you exceed.
Why do you necessarily have to have a speed limit in?
We need to have it with the study of number of accidents being recorded on Lagos Road. These people saying that, okay, from the one you have at United by Mobolaji Bank Anthony, which is about 60 kilometers per hour, there's nothing too big about that. It is just for safety, to reduce accident, and to ensure proper traffic movement. If you're on 60, it's for your own safety, it's not for the government.
Absolutely.
And the government responsibility of government is to take care of both your lives and property as well.
So in this case, the complaint was that they were issued
60.
Yes, the complaint says that they were issued a ticket and a fine, and the vehicle was literally pulled out of slow-moving traffic to ask, do you have this speed limiting device? You don't have this speed limiting device, so we're going to charge you for not having that and for overspeeding.
Is it by LASTMA?
No, it's not. That's why I'm asking if you can speak to it.
So I can only talk about, I'm talking about,
Yes, that's what I'm asking.
I can only talk about the one being stored by Lagos State government. And these are the devices at United by Mobolaji Bank Anthony and the one at Alatbere.
So those are the ones.
Then you have another one which is the police monitoring. You have that one at Harlem. You have it at Olowo Popo. Those ones are in charge of trying to capture traffic infractions by motoring. I think you have some.
I'm glad you mentioned how Nigerians obey rules. So we believe there are proper ways or standardized global best practices way of doing things. We've seen the implementation of speed limits on Third Mainland, and we've seen speed cameras.
If you know what brought about the speed limit on Third Mainland Bridge, you will know that the government, we are due to have that
Absolutely, yes.
My question, on a daily basis, we record, LASTMA recorded nothing less than about 5 to 6 very serious fatal accidents.
My question, just to let me land, my question is, in other climes, everywhere in the world is standardized, where you're approaching a speed camera location, there's a notice that you're approaching in 10 minutes, you'll be in a speed camera zone. There are absolutely no notices. Or why
are you saying no notices? Have you investigated that?
I mean, you're going into a camera zone. We hardly see this notice.
You see, all these outcries that you don't have notices. By the time you move outside there, you see that government have an informative route furniture informing you that this is the certain speed limit you could move on this very particular route.
All right. Mr.
We cannot be bringing notices to the doorstep of every motoring public.
Signage.
We have to go now, but quickly, we can read out the toll number that people can call if they have issues they need to report, because I think that's very important.
The number is 080 000 52 7862. That is 00 in 4 places.
Okay.
52 7862.
All right.
Then we also have a physical complaint center. In case you could not make use of your phone call, you could come to our office. We have a physical complaint center where you could come and...
Where is the office?
The office is associated.
Mr. Adebayo Taofiq, we have to go. Thank you so much for your time.